everyone, Karen here. Today we're going to be making a box pop-out card. Now if you haven't seen one of these before, it's a card like this that folds flat, and the one I'm doing today will fit into a 5x7 envelope. And when you open it up, it becomes a three-dimensional card like this. Now I will say the key to these is making sure you fill it with enough things. So when you're doing one of these, make sure you have a couple extra pieces, because you'll be surprised. You'll find a place for them in here, and it looks a lot better fuller. Now there are a couple of personal choices here. You can see this one here. I cut it down to the 2-inch line and then brought it down straight. So it kind of gave it that look on the side. Now there's nothing stopping you from doing something like this, where you bring it all the way down to the 1-inch piece in the front. And the reason why I picked 2 inches on this one is the back one is 2 inches tall, and to give it some balance. But there is really nothing stopping you from doing whatever you want on the side. You could even cut it in a curve, or cut it in a down and then over. I mean, you really can do whatever you want with it once you understand the basic concept of how this card goes together. And here is one other one that I've been working on, and this is for Christmas, because it is that time, ladies and gentlemen. It is time to start the Christmas cards. But today we're going to do a Halloween card. So we're going to need a 9x7 piece of paper. This can be printer solid, whatever it is you want to use for the base of your card. And this is Kingston paper. Then you're going to need 3 pieces of paper that are 6 inches long. You're going to want one that is 1 inch by 6 inch, one that is 1.5 inches by 6 inches, and one that is 2 inches by 6 inches. And we're going to score those at 1/2 inch and 5.5. Then you will want to have a 4-inch square to put a message for the back, because on these cards here, the messaging is on the back. That's the back. They like this. And then I have one that is 4.5 by 4.5, which this is going to be the matte layer for this. And I also have an orange marker, because I'm using ephemera today. And there were some that I liked that were pumpkins, but they were white pumpkins instead of orange pumpkins. So even I'm going to show you that ephemera, it may not be the exact color you want, but all you have to do is take your marker and color that in. And these are alcohol markers, so they're translucent. And so all of the design that's on there will show through once it dries. Just going to color this really quick. So when you have black and white ephemera, sometimes that's better, because then you can color it to whatever color you need. Alright, so that is done. We'll put those over here. Now let's talk about the card base. That's the important part of this, is how do we put the card base together. Alright, so I'm going to bring in my trimmer. So I'm just going to line this up here at the 0. And so this end here will be at the 9. Scoring pen here. Alright, so I'm going to come over 2 inches and come over 2 inches on this side. We've made some score lines. Now these pieces that are 6 inches across and the one that's 1 inch, 1.5, and 2 inches, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to come in 1/2 inch, come in 1/2 inch, and score. Now when you have these, this is a straight edge. And I want to show you something. This one here, I left straight across. Okay, that looks fine. But on the baby card, let's see, I'm getting a horrible glare in my room the last few days. You can see, I'll put my hand back here, that is not straight. And there again, personal preference. Cut it straight, cut it not straight. So once you cut this, if you do want a wavy edge, simply take your scissors, decide which end's going to be the top, and just go across. Now, depending on what you're going to put on the front, maybe you want to make this more exaggerated. And, you know, there's a lot of personal preference here. I am a firm believer in personal preference in cards. They do not all need to be the same. So here we have our score lines. We're going to fold those back. All right. Now this is our piece that we scored at the 2 inches. And we're going to fold this. And fold this. Let me move this out of the way for now. All right. So this is now going to be our card. The tall one will be in the back. And then the medium one will go on top of it, and so on as we go along. So let me grab some glue. Now you can trim these sides first, or you can trim them last. I'm going to trim these last because I'm going to show you a little cheat, just in case something doesn't go on completely straight. So we have our card at where that's scored at 2 inches. I'm going to lay this down flat right here in the corner in the fold, line it up with the bottom, and fold that over. And just let that grab for a minute. All right. And let me give that another second. So now we're going to take the next one down, which is the 1.5 inches. That's a little better. All right, I'm going to, again, line it up at the bottom. That will just go in here. And you do want a little bit of space. Let's see. I can turn this so you can see it. See, there's a little bit of space there. Now, nothing bad's going to happen if you put them right up against each other. It's just to give them a little bit of balance. And now this one, I am going to put right up on the edge. And just fold this over. You want to make sure they're all nice and straight with the bottom. Okay, so now that that has grabbed, I'm going to open this down flat. I'm going to make sure all of our pieces are nice and straight. I'll hold it up this way so I can glue it with my hand. All right. So we're going to put glue on each of the little tabs. All the way across. Make sure they're all nice and straight in the bottom. And close this down. And let that dry. Give it a little tap down, make sure it's all nice and flush on the bottom. Now, there you go. Now that is the base. That's what you will do every single time. You'll cut a paper that is 5 by 9, score at 2 and at 7, or 2 inches from each side, whichever way is easier for you to remember. And then you will want a 6-inch wide paper, cut at 3 different lengths. I chose to do 2, 1.5, and 1. You will score a 1/2 inch on each side and glue them in there. Now, once you get to this point, there's a lot of choice. You can leave it straight on the sides if you want. You could cut it down and then across if you wanted to. You know, maybe cut it down to here and cut it straight across. There is many, many different choices here. But let me show you how to cut it like this. We're going to cut it down to the edge of the front. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to lay my card flat. I'm going to put the fold on my cut line, the top of that first row here. Make sure we're nice and straight. Put this down and cut. Now we're going to flip it to the other side and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to line up the first row and line up the score line. And put this down and cut. Now I would, if you're going to cut it all the way down to the front like this, I would wait until after you glue this front piece in, because if you cut it first and then you don't get your piece in completely straight, it's going to show. But if you glue it in first and then cut it off, you can cut it to where the paper is. And if it's a little crooked, no one's going to notice. All right, so now we have our frame. So now it's a matter of decorating. So I have a bunch of these Halloween pieces here. And this is some digital ephemera I had. And I think I know kind of where I want to put everything. So I know I want to start with the back. You always want to start to the back and work your way to the front. But you can always reach in and add a little piece here and there if you decide it needs something else. But a good rule of thumb is to start in the back and work your way forward. That way things aren't in your way. So I'm going to start with my little tree stand here, my little pumpkin stand. And I'm going to put that down here in the middle. Okay. Now you want it high, you want it low enough to where when you're looking at your card, it doesn't look like it's floating. So let me pull this off a little bit. Move it down just a little bit. There we go. Yeah, that's better. All right. You can always press it down if you need to. Okay, so now we have the pumpkin stand. So now we can decide where we want the Happy Halloween. So let's construct that first. So I'm thinking across the front. Because you could also put it across the top here. I think I'm going to put it in the front. All right, so now we're also going to I have a wagon. And I have a little bow. So I'm going to attach the bow to the wagon. Because at this point, it's really all decorating. So I'm just going to put that on here. Add a little something. I'm trying to decide what I want to put in each row. So I have a mummy. I have a Frankenstein. I have a vampire. I have the witch. Now for the witch, I also have a cauldron and a black cat. So I know I want to put those three things together. So I'm thinking I may put those across the front because that will cover a lot of the front area here. I will turn it this way. All right, well, the moon is going to go up in the back. So let's put the moon in place. Let's go ahead and put the moon there. Now I'm going to stick him to the back. This is just 1/16 inch foam. We'll put him on the side. All right. Then we'll put Frankenstein here in the middle. Now we'll put the mummy over on this side. Now we'll put the witch over here. These are my main elements. Oops, nope, choosing the wrong one. All right, she goes over here. Because we're going to have this Happy Halloween sign here. Let me grab some foam for this. All right, we'll put a piece on that side. All right, and lay this flat for a moment. Put this in the middle. All right. So now I should be able to slide the cauldron here in the top. Like that. And the little kitty cat will go over here. And that tail is pretty skinny, so I'm just going to glue this on flat. Okay, so what do we have left? Well, these two things I want to put on the side, because when you cut it like this, you have a fair amount of real estate here. So I'm going to decorate the sides. And I feel like I'm starting to lose my voice again. I went on vacation and I came back sick. That's why you haven't heard from me in a week, because I finally is just getting my voice back. And we'll put the 31 over here. I'll give that a little decoration. See, so that's looking pretty good, but you can still put some more things in. And it always looks a little bit better when you put just a little bit more in there. So now I have this wheelbarrow and the little wagon. Let's just keep gluing things down. Then maybe we'll tuck this back here, because you can glue things to the front and the back to give it more dimension. So I think I'm going to glue this to the back of this, like that. And that is everything I have. All right, so this is the 4x4, goes in the middle of the 4.5 by 4.5. And then this will go on the back. Then we will be finished. Make sure we're not putting it on upside down. All right. Maybe I'll put the little tassels on the back. Let me cut this little piece here where that was attached. Yep, I think I'll glue the little tassels on the back since I have them. All right. All right, so there you have it. There are 18 pieces in here. sounds like a lot, but it definitely fills it up. Yeah, just like this one. This one has a lot of pieces too. And this one was the one cut to 2 inches. And remember, this one we cut all the way down to 1 inch from the bottom. There is absolutely personal preference. There's really no wrong answer to this. And there's the Christmas one. And here is the baby one more time. So this is what I've been working on this week. Oh, that baby one gets a lot of glare. There we go. Let me see if I turn this light off, if it's better. Okay, that's a little better. It's a little darker, but at least you can see it. So here's the baby one. This one I didn't put anything on the side. And there's the very fall looking one. Here's Gingerbread Family. And the one we did today. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you'll try and make some. And look at all the stamps, dies, ephemera that you have. I'm sure there's plenty of things you have that you can turn into one of these cards. Because really, you just need a lot of pieces and just glue them in and have fun. And if you want to, there is an SVG. If you go to KarenCreatesCards.com and look for the tiered box card, you'll find it to where if you just want to cut these pieces out and not have to measure them every time, and you have the ability to cut out an SVG, it is on there. And until next time, stay crafty.